Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My guest right now, I'm hoping I'm getting the last name right. It's Lana Parrilla?
Yeah, or you can say Parrilla or Parrilla.
I was just going to ask because the two L's, I was like, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm half Puerto Rican.
Okay, so sometimes the two L's are L-Y, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's Parrilla.
Parrilla. It's like the L's are like
can't
a
roll my
yeah,
my
yeah.
R. Yeah. I took
Okay, yeah.
Spanish 7th grade to 11th grade, and I can read it. I just can't speak it well, and I can't do
not much you can remember from 7th to 11th grade anyway. I mean, just to be fair to you.
Well, when I do travel, or if somebody changed the screen on the ATM, I at least can read and know what it says, so I can flip it back to English.
Of course.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Once upon a time, major show for ABC. When you got this job, when the show was announced and coming together and everything, did you wonder, like, would a show about fairy tales be that successful? Because that came around the same time NBC was doing Grimm, and they were doing a different version of the fairy tale. So it was just like two shows on two major networks. It's like, is this really the time that people were going to come together and be like, fairy tales are the thing for me? Yeah.
I didn't know how successful the show was going to be. I knew that it was extremely special. When I first read the pilot script, I thought, wow, this is so unique. There's nothing like it out there. It's not going to last.
Right.
You know, and that was just the cynic in me, because I've been on many unique shows that didn't last. But this one had some magic behind it, and it still does. There's like a moral lesson to learn every time you watch these episodes.
Right.
And I think our constant theme is hope, which is something all of us are always looking for or wanting in our lives.
One of the things I think I enjoyed, I guess everybody enjoys about it, is that it's set in a more modern and realistic time, even though it has a lot of the storytelling and the magic and the mystery that comes with a fairy tale. But it's placed in a real life situation where, okay, I can see that happening. That makes sense, even though there's magic and crystals and all these other kind of things going on. It's just like, yeah, I'm buying this. I believe that this really could happen. This makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that our show has taken a lot of twists and turns over the years, and I would say the first 2 seasons we saw most of that magic take place in fairy tale land, whereas Storybrooke, in our first season there wasn't any magic. In the second season, magic came to Storybrooke. So the first season really allowed us to show the human side without the magic, and how the humans have to deal with real conflict. What we're learning is that not all magic is great. It's used as a tool to manipulate, to hurt, to save, to
kill.
Reinvent, to kill. There's a lot of positive uses when it comes to magic, but there's also a lot of negatives in magic. But our show, even though there's all this magic and we fight these dragons and monsters and such, yes, the most relatable thing is we are humans, and that is, I think, what makes the show so successful, is that the characters are going through real life
situations,
and situations that a lot of our audience can relate to.
For your character, for those who don't know, you play Regina Mills, but also is the evil queen character for the fairy tales. And over the years, your character has really walked a weird line between being kind of evil and then becoming sort of good, and then having love introduced, especially in this past season. So she was really walking the sides of humanity where you're good and bad depending on what's surrounding you.
Right.
It's no spoiler, it already aired that one of your major love interests was just killed. So does this mean, like, somewhere down the road you go back into the evil side of Regina's character? Because that's pretty much, love turns people pretty black. When you suffer a tragedy like that.
Yes, it does. However, let's not forget the love that Regina still has in her life with her family,
right? With
her son and her friends and her stepdaughter. All of that has turned around. She's also reconciled with her parents and her sister. So she is still very much supported and loved by many. So I don't know if the loss of a boyfriend is going to turn her over to the dark side again. I will say that the death has definitely shaken her up a bit, and all these emotions and the turmoil that she feels inside is quite conflicting for her, and she is, and we'll see this in the 2-hour finale, what she does with those feelings and emotions.
The 2-hour finale is Sunday at 8 p.m., right?
Yes.
On ABC. Do you think it's going to take some more tragedy in order to make her do the full turn again? Do you foresee that happening?
Possibly.
I mean, things up until this point were going really well for her. It was almost like a rehabilitation kind of thing.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's as good as everyone thinks. I think that Regina is a very private person, and she doesn't really share a lot of her thoughts, her fears, her insecurities, her vulnerabilities. Even though we've seen her graduate to this level of being a hero, I don't know how much of that is organic within her. I think that that darkness and these evil tendencies that she feels inside have been suppressed over the years. And she's quite conflicted, not really sure how to deal with those. And then who is she with them and who is she without those feelings? And
right.
And I think she's in she's having a bit of an identity crisis.
I was just going to ask that, because it seems that with her having things go well in her life, you said with involving her family, making amends where she can, it seems like that is what people do, but she's not feeling that it's genuine. You know, like it's sort of a mask that she's wearing. She's concealing something and not really sure if this is who she is or who she wants to be.
Yeah, I think she's still discovering that. I think she's also, honestly, kind of really pissed off at life. I think that she feels that life has betrayed her on some level, that these events in her life have created this monster within her, and she's angry about it. The loss of Robin in her eyes right now, I think she sees it as karmic payback for all the horrible things that she's done. And she's hurt a lot of people. She's slaughtered villages. Mm-hmm. And many forget that because she's such a beloved character. But if we look at her history, you know, she's done a lot of terrible things. And so is she deserving of a happy ending?
Do you think it's karma?
I think a lot of it is karma. I think that... I mean, I love her so much, so I say, yes, I want her to be happy, and I want that for her.
A little biased, yes.
Of course. I want that for her. I also love the evil side to her. I think it's really fun, and I think that, you know, we all possess that darkness in us, and we just don't really, some of us execute and like act upon it, and a lot of us just keep it bottled up inside.
For those who weren't aware, you mentioned Robin. The love interest for your character in the show was Robin Hood. And a couple of weeks ago, they were running a promo up until, I guess, last week's episode there, where it showed Hades was wielding a dagger. And he was telling someone, this isn't going to kill you, it's going to end you. And everyone thought it was going to be Hook. Captain Hook is a character on the show there. And it turned out that Robin sacrificed himself when your character was about to be attacked, took a bullet for you, and
exactly.
so that Regina could survive there. And it really is just you don't expect this from fairy tale characters. Like, they've done such an amazing job with the show where if you just plopped in this season and you're trying to catch up or whatever, you're not thinking that it's, you know, all happy endings and all blissful Disney movies, which do have the tones of evil, but then everything kind of gets wrapped up. It's when one thing sort of gets resolved to be a good or bad, 10 other things pop up, and then everyone's scrambling around trying to sort all that stuff out as well. This season, the characters are back in Storybrooke, and a couple are venturing out to one of them went rogue. Henry, was that the one who went out, and a couple went out to
mission with his girlfriend,
right, to go out and find him. But now the ones who are stuck back here thinking, finally we have a breather. We're back home. Maybe things will get to some sort of a normality. And then there's a portal that's taking them to a whole new world. And then it's like there's never a moment to rest.
I know. I always wonder, how do these people sleep, and do they ever eat, and how are they still in good shape?
Yeah, you never see them go to the mall or drop the kids off somewhere. Nothing.
I know.
It's like, oh, everything's good. Dragon shows up out of nowhere.
I know, but I mean, how often is that good television? Watching Regina take a nap on a park bench? I mean, I don't know.
Oh my God! Well, at some point we'll have a show that is exactly real life, and it's just going to be nothing but like
we're like people sleeping,
going
and
grocery
eating.
shopping, picking up the kids, taking the garbage out like that.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll do well. Maybe it won't. I don't know.
Yeah. These characters go through quite a bit, and I think that's what makes it fun. We go on these journeys with them to all these new lands, and we encounter all these crazy new characters and villains, and that's what makes Once Upon a Time, is that it's constantly in motion.
I love that there's a base, a core of characters for the show every week. But then depending on where the story's going or where you are in the season, they bring in other characters in for a few episodes just to liven things up or add in different layers and what have you. In the past, I got a chance to talk to Emily DeRaven, who plays Belle, and not too long ago, Rose McIver, who plays Tinkerbell. And I asked her, I said, you did, I think, like 8 episodes of Tinkerbell in there. Now that she's doing iZombie, I said, do you have that agreement where you could come back if they want to bring Tinkerbell back? And she said, never say never, like everyone else says about this show. But she thinks that there's always a way to bring back the characters that everybody loves so much there.
I would agree with that. Absolutely. I think what it is with Rose for us is that she's unavailable.
Right.
She's on iZombie doing a fantastic job on the show. And if we could have her back to do an episode here and there, I know we would love to have her.
I forgot the character that she mentioned from Once Upon a Time, but she said her personal agreement would be that she wanted to do a sort of an unofficial crossover where she would gladly come back and do Tinkerbell, but there was somebody on the show that she wants to bring back and play a character over on iZombie. And I said, that's a weird kind of crossover.
Could it be Robert Carlyle?
Oh, it could be. I'll have to go back and check. I forgot. I'm blanking here at the moment, but I thought that would be an interesting.
I just would always want Robert Carlyle on my television show.
I love Robert Carlyle. He was on.
He's amazing.
He was on Stargate SGU.
Yes, he was.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that particular all the Stargate series did very well as far as seasons and syndication, but that one had 2 seasons and done. Like they barely got through the second season, and I thought he was great in that show. But their loss is your guys' gain for having him on Once Upon a Time.
Yes, and I don't want anyone taking him away from us, please. Thank you.
When you got the character of Regina, based on what they told you about how they were envisioning and how they were writing for the character, how much of yourself or what kind of vision did you bring to the character, saying, like, I think the character needs to be portrayed in a certain way? Or,
I don't ever push my vision onto any of the writers because it's not my place.
Right.
What I like to do is wherever they are bringing Regina, I like to make it work, even if I disagree with it. I think that it's written for a reason.
Right.
And if I'm having any struggles or troubles with it, it's funny, Meryl Streep taught me this, and not that I had this discussion with her, but I saw it in an interview, and she said, when I read a script and there's a line or a scene that I have so much resistance towards, like she just resists it, she goes, that's the heart of the character, and that's what I need to investigate. And so when I find when...
Is it taking you out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, or there's something like, why am I not liking this? Why doesn't this ring true to me? That's the opportunity, instead of calling the writers and saying, I don't agree with this, or I think the character should go in this direction. I think that's dangerous ground. I would avoid that at all costs. It's a marriage. It's a marriage.
Oh, it's a compromise.
Yes, it is a compromise. It's they have a vision. That vision has to be respected and achieved. However, there is also my perspective and my take on it. I always try to make everything work, and then I color it more with my perspective. The way I understood the question is, if I read something and I don't necessarily agree with it, would I then go to the writers and ask them to redirect the character in the direction I think she should go. And I say no to that because that's not my place. However, I do bring a lot to Regina that's not on the page. And that's just something I've always done with all my characters, because I think that this is a collaborative art form. And you do have the writers that have created these characters, and then you have the actors that bring them to life. And it is less of a compromise, but it's really a collaboration. We are working together, and I do bring a lot of, a ton of, my own perspective to this character. And I think that it's a give and take. I think the writers have watched my performance over the years and have been inspired by certain things I've done and said, oh, wow, I never thought Regina can go in that direction or have this level, of expression when it comes to a certain emotion. It's opened their eyes to write different things for her. And so that's, I hope that's clear. I feel like this is a...
You do bring a lot to the character. I just didn't know that. As in any character, when the writers and the producers have a vision of the cadence of the character, the persona, the direction the character will go in the story, just because you write it down doesn't always make it so. Sometimes the talent that is portraying the character has something where they go, you know what, it seems more natural if you say it like this, or if you do it like that, or if you act more this way, how you would normally. So I didn't know if like here's the character, and what you're doing with it, do they like, you know what, I kind of like what you're doing, or do you have any thoughts as, we want her to do this, do you think she would do that? Like, do you have a lot of say with that character development?
Right. I will say that I'm really lucky to have Adam and Annie who do trust my take on Regina and what I bring to her. They say every time you are performing, you say the lines exactly how we heard them in our heads. So I think they trust me, and I trust them. So we do have conversations, but I really try not to meddle with their vision. And then I just take whatever they've given me on the page, and then I bring, what I could bring to it.
Okay.
To the character, which is a lot, quite a bit.
Very much so. There's a lot of depth and soul to Regina in this show.
I work 7 days a week, not 5.
Once Upon a Time, the big season finale. It's 2 hours, ABC, Sunday, 8 p.m. I'm out of time here with you, but can you just tell us what we're expecting for the big finale here?
Yes. So
what's the game plan?
Well, Gold is up to no good yet again. Henry and his girlfriend Violet have gone on this rogue mission to try to destroy magic, and Emma and Regina are trying to locate him and find him because we know that Gold is after him. So it's a big chase. It's a chasing episode. It's a hunting down episode for some of the heroes, and then back in Storybrooke, we have Hook, Snow, and Charming, and Zelina, who gets sucked through this portal into a new world, a world we haven't seen, where they're going to encounter a lot of cool, interesting characters, and
new characters. That's one of the fun things about this show, is that some new characters come in on the side, maybe for a while, maybe for a tiny bit, but it always spices everything up.
Yes.
So definitely check that out. Once Upon a Time, the 2-hour season finale, ABC, Sunday, 8 p.m. Next time you're around here, we didn't even get a chance to. I'm sure everybody wants to talk to you about Lost and 24.
Oh, yeah.
I'm no different. I would like to do that. It's at, I'll spell it out here for LanaParrilla on Twitter. Use the hashtag EvilRegals if you want.
Please.
And enjoy the big season finale, and enjoy your summer off.
Thank you.
When do you start production for the new season? Probably July, August, right? July.
Yeah.
So you get about a month and a half, and then right back to work.
Yep, it's a marathon.
Well, hopefully we'll see you for the premiere of the next season. That'd be great.
Thank you. I would love that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.